Welcome.
Welcome.
So Holly and I recently did something we call Creativity Kickstart. We do this 3 times a year for 3 days, and we invite people to join in, and we all craft together. We learn things together. And one of the questions that we asked people was, why? What does creativity mean to you? Or, things like that. And I thought that'd be a fun thing to talk about because we can all relate to different reasons. So I'm going to read some comments, and you guys just chime in when you think of something. Jennifer said, creating cards is one way to slow my ADHD mind down. I can relax. I can actually feel the stress leave me when I can sit at my table and just craft. That's powerful.
I mean, I don't know if I have ADHD. It's never been, diagnosed, but I've definitely had a busy mind my whole life. And all of my life, I think one of the things that I'm drawn to about collaging or card making is I do feel very focused and quiet.
Yeah. I think I'm ADHD, but
And journaling kind of does that for you.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's where you settle in and write. And
yep.
Debbie says it's definitely a stress reliever, but I also feel it's good stimulation for my mind. I have many family members with dementia, and I work hard to keep my mind active for as long as I can. And I think that's an interesting comment because just as we get older in general, too, they talk about doing a variety of things. And I think for all ages, this is just a fun way of looking at things and kind of keeping busy with that.
Well, and if you add the component of so much of our life now is on screens, and screens are flashing, they're swiping, we're scrolling, we're clicking on links, and keeping traditions like card making alive isn't just about an archaic thing being preserved. I think it is a gift to the people that, spend time doing this for that exact reason.
So are you saying that it balances out all the
Yeah.
screen time?
30 years ago,
Yep.
It was one of the things we had.
Yeah.
But we had TV back then and the radio or whatever, but our phones in our pockets going everywhere with us has really altered, I think, how we exist in our own bodies and in our own minds.
And our conversations, everything.
Everything.
Yes, when you think back 30 years ago, I think we spent much more time cooking, baking, doing things, creating, sewing, so to
Right.
keep those kinds of things alive. And I love this comment from Linda. She says, I've always been creative, but nowadays it's so important to me because it's a huge stress reliever. I have a stressful job. So, and you can relate to that. So coming home after work and spending a couple of hours crafting is very relaxing and rewarding. When I was reading her comment, I was also thinking about all of the caregivers. I think that is also such a stressful job. And there are so many people who are caring for loved ones at home and things. And I think those little moments of self-care when you can just go get lost in paper is really a good thing. A friend of mine told me once that her husband had learned to say whenever she was getting too stressed out or crabby, let's just say, he'd say, I think you need time in your craft room. And I thought that's good because we all kind of need that, whatever it is. I thought.
The thing about the job that it just brought up a interesting thing that has happened at work. I work in special ed in a public middle school at Hank School actually, and we have a student in our department who has really been struggling to get to school, and when he comes to school he is often distraught and having a meltdown. And one of the teachers I work with came up with this idea she bought the 50 pack of cards, and they're all the same design, but every day pick a staff person in the building and write, thank you for what you do for this community, all the best, the Explorer team, and then this student signs his name, which is hard for him to do, but he signs the name, and then one of his jobs during the day is to deliver it to that staff person. And he has come to love it, and the first thing he wants now when he gets to school is to find out who. So it's every day, and it's such a simple thing. There's nothing
So cool.
It's not a handmade card, but it's the gift of the card, and it has actually given him some purpose. And
So purposeful.
all these people in the school now are going to be getting these cards that will you know, brighten their day.
And even that connecting process, you know,
Right.
for him wondering who's next and to get you out of yourself thinking about the people, wondering who that is instead of just hating the thought of going to school.
Right.
Who do I get to go meet today and bring this fun thing
Right.
to? Oh, that's very touching.
So you're saying that his name is in there.
He
signs.
we
He sign-
the teacher writes a little note, and we're the Explorer team,
Yeah.
and she signs it from the Explorer team.
Yeah.
But then he adds his personal
delivers
name,
it.
and then
Oh.
it's his responsibility
I
to
love that.
deliver that
What
every day.
empowerment.
And he's in a wheelchair, and so
Honoring.
it's like kind of this adventure into the school. He'll end up in parts of the school that he normally wouldn't be in,
And it's a real place of honor for him to be asked to do that. I
Right.
mean, that's also a very important mission of the day, and it's very purposeful. I love that. That's an awesome story. Linda said there are two main things besides prayer that calm my soul: beach fishing time and my card making. And I love the contrast. I love that one is so physical, one is the other, but also comparing it to prayer in terms of being that centering, calming kind of thing. I think is also just very cool. Maribel says, to be creative is the core of my being. It fills my soul with happiness. And I just love that phrase.
What's the beginning of that again? To be
To
what?
be creative
To
is
be-
the core of my being.
Hmm.
And as you know, we're all meant to be creative, and when I think that, it fills my soul with happiness. I love phrases like that they're so descriptive, and you know, you can just take that to heart. And Dawn said, creating and crafting allows my mind to wander in colors, sounds, textures. It's rejuvenating. You know, we've talked before about wander being such a wonderful world. A way to just lift things. Wandering, because we said that's totally fits your life. Tim is totally a wanderer. But wandering and wondering and experiencing all that, it's also like saying slowing down and noticing all those things. And that's just very calming.
yeah. And card making is a form of wandering. You know, you're looking through colors, and
You don't know exactly where it's going to go.
Right.
You kind of just...
and I think the cards we're most proud of, or art projects we're most proud of, had a moment of some sort of like aha, like you discover it, and that is a rewarding feeling.
Read that again.
Creating and crafting allows my mind to wander in colors, sounds, and textures. And all of that color, even sounds, you know, how whatever you have, whether you're in silence and you're enjoying the silence, or you're hearing birds through the window, or you have music on, it's all of that, whatever your environment is.
So the five senses, but the creativity is not limited to that. Creativity comes from within and from an idea, all kinds of things. And
I'm just going to pause and say we so appreciate when you guys make comments. I mean, this gives us all moments to pause and reflect too on what things mean. Hank, feel free to jump in if you have anything to say. But and then this next part, these are kind of answers about what it's done for you. Jansat said, it gives me a sense of accomplishment, starting with one thing, but yet you're creating something new and different. And I think that's such a great picture too. You know, you've got your materials here, and you are creating something new and different. And
it moves.
I love how Carol said, I'm enjoying this because I want to continue upping my game, as my daughter would say, as a card maker. And I think that just shows the fun of kind of what we do.
How would you describe it, Hank?
Re-say it?
Upping my game.
Her daughter
Card making, the
says.
daughter said.
You're like a cool 7th grader.
Yeah. So what do you think upping my game means?
I'm getting better, but like
Uh-huh.
Dropping my drip.
drip is style related.
I know.
That's okay.
I'm a cool middle school teacher.
Dropping
Is your
my-
dad a cool middle school teacher?
I've had one class with him. So
Oh,
I
okay.
can't say.
Okay, but dropping my drip is one of those.
No, drip is like style.
Yeah.
Like,
but-
I made up dropping my drip.
I
Oh,
love
okay.
it.
I love it. Well,
It might go
we make up
viral.
things we make.
It might. Okay.
Hank
Do
says
know
no.
Hank is shaking his head no.
No, I think it will. Dropping my drip. Oh, that is.
It's very descriptive. So we'll see. We'll work on it. Hank, you can come up with a better one.
No, we
You know,
don't
that's
need to
okay,
work
too.
on it. It's
Okay.
perfect.
Laura Ann said, I want to be more creative so it doesn't take me 2 days to make one card. With more creativity comes more ideas, and with that, more opportunity to get those cards done. I love it.
I can relate to that. Our dining room table's almost always set up for collaging and card making, and a card can happen in minutes. I'll sometimes even just sit down without an agenda of making anything, and I find an image, and then all of a sudden I think of someone.
Yeah.
When it's all put away, there will be spells when it's all put away, and it'll be weeks or months, 0 cards get made, and cards will come up in my mind that don't get made and get put off because I don't want to haul everything out,
Yep.
get the like station set up, and momentum is like a thing.
Yes.
And the idea disappears.
Yeah.
The creativity disappears.
Or if it's like a birthday gift, the birthday comes and goes, or you know, a holiday comes and goes. And
Like something I've noticed is throughout like our entire family, like Olsen's side to his side, a lot of people have dining room tables that aren't ate at.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they don't have the same
we-
purpose
we
anymore.
literally never. I mean, unless we have friends over,
Even
we
like
do not
even
eat
like
dinner at
Jeff
the
and
table.
Eli, like they eat at the dining room table. Their dining room table is always messy before that. They always have to clean it.
Yeah.
But that means we're using our tables, right?
Our garage doesn't have, you know, we put a wall in front of our garage door. We can't even open it. So it's like our garage isn't used as a garage. It's used
That's
as
right.
like a lounge and gathering place.
Place for Christmas
Right.
Eve.
Yeah.
Right.
And our bathroom doesn't even have a toilet in it. I'm just kidding.
No, that's all I'm back
We
to.
just throw it all out the window.
And just more comments from this about what creativity means in your life. Constance says, I like to be creative as a stress reliever for myself, but my cards bring so much joy to others in getting snail mail that aren't bills or junk mail. That comes back to me and makes me feel good about myself as well. People feel good about helping others. And by making and sending cards, it not only helps the recipient, it also helps my self-esteem and gives me something to be proud of. And I love that it goes both ways, the sender and the receiver.
I need to add something before I forget it.
Mhm.
They say that humor is to take something and turn it into nothing. Take the sting out of it or something like that. But creativity is taking nothing and making something.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah. That's really true.
We'll have to remember that and come back and write that down. Jean says card making is
I'll
fun.
just remember it.
Okay, I know you will. Jean says card making is fun to do, but sharing the cards with people you care about is a double win. It's another way of looking at that, giving and resending. I just love to do that. Rebecca says being creative allows me to make cards personalized to my recipient's favorite things in life. And that always challenges my imagination, and I'm always up for a challenge. So what a great way to look at it, because you can do it just so. And that's the kind of cards you make. You make personal cards for personal occasions, and
And
I tend to mass produce cards for business.
and she knows that I like roosters.
Oh yes, she
Yeah.
does. She said she roosters. Dorothy, here's another humorous one. I love to make and send cards because it helps others feel better. It also helps me from snacking because I'm busy away from the kitchen. So if nobody's told her that snacking and card making go well together, let's just
So
not
if you get a
share
card that has like Dorito residue on it,
Yes.
you know, it's like-
I thought that is, but that is great. But that idea, you do get absorbed in time, and time does slip away. So I think that's part
Yeah.
of that, kind of like getting into that zone. Patty says, I live in a senior housing complex with 180 seniors. Many residents don't have anyone in their lives. I leave cards on their shelves, letting them know that I'm thinking of them. Their joy in receiving my cards is worth more than all the money in the world.
absolutely.
Very cool.
That is,
I mean, boosting mental health at a vulnerable time in life.
yep. Lynn says, a need to create is strong in my heart, and with this I get to share with the purpose. Joyce says, for me it's an opportunity to discover who I am, and then I get to bless people with the results. And the last comment I wanted to read was Stephanie. Loneliness is so prevalent in society today. I love to create, and through my creativity hope to help someone feel less lonely, knowing that someone is thinking of them and loves them. I know that creating helps me feel less lonely. And again, that is powerful.
nice.
And to be able to recognize that in yourself, I think also, so we did this. We have a group that's called All Good Cards Club, and there's information that you just ask, leave a comment if you want to know more. But this is kind of where this all stems from, creating this community of those of us who like to craft and how we can use it in our lives. But I think these statements are all very powerful. Now for a card that made a difference.
Yeah.
This letter comes from Lynn, and I'm just reading the letter that was in it. She said, I didn't sign this card. She put it on a post-it note, which we were doing, because it would be an honor to know that this card will be used to raise funds for Operation Christmas Child or to lift someone's spirits. She's asking me to pass it on. I either pass it on or I give them to Kathy Ost, who they sell them at church for $2, and it goes for the postage for Operation Christmas Child, because we send out hundreds of boxes and nobody wants to pay the postage. It's $10 a box, so it is a win-win. And I love that she's thanking for that idea, that the story of a card, that it can go on and on. Thank you for the opportunity to help someone else, as well as the inspiration you share.
Yeah, that's great.